The Columbus skyline glitters beyond the rooftop restaurant's windows, each light a tiny star in my personal universe of disappointment. My heels click against the polished hardwood as I follow the hostess, the weight of the aged Cabernet steady in my hands. The card I spent hours crafting nestles in my purse, its edges crisp and perfect, unlike the mess my heart has become. Right this way, Miss Henderson. The hostess's voice carries the practiced warmth of upscale service. She guides me toward the private dining room I selected 3 months ago, when hope still colored my world in softer shades. I smooth my dress, a careful selection that cost more than I usually spend. The fabric whispers against my skin as I move, a quiet reminder of all the times I've dressed up for family occasions, seeking approval that never quite materializes. The private room opens before us like a stage set for a play I've performed too many times. Crystal glasses catch the light from artisan fixtures I chose myself. The table settings gleam, each plate precisely positioned on the crisp white cloth. 20 pairs of eyes turn toward me as I enter. Logan's gaze meets mine, cold as February frost. My brother raises his hand, and my steps falter. This table's for family only, sis. The wine bottle grows heavier in my grasp. Blood rushes to my face as he gestures toward a metal folding chair near the exit, set apart from the celebration like a dunce seat in grade school. Silence spreads across the room like spilled wine. Mother's lips twist into her nervous smile, the one that appears whenever she's choosing Logan's side. Father chuckles, the sound hitting me like small stones. Bailey, Logan's fiancée, glances between us. Confusion flickers across her features, but she says nothing. Her silence speaks volumes about the stories Logan must have told her. My fingers tighten around the bottle's neck until my knuckles match the tablecloth. The room tilts slightly, and memories flash through my mind like an old slideshow. Covering Logan's rent when he couldn't make payments, co-signing his car loan. Paying for the trade school program he never finished. The engagement gift in my purse suddenly weighs 1,000 pounds. A vintage watch I found at that little shop in German Village, the kind Logan always admired but never saved up to buy. The irony tastes bitter in my mouth. Without a word, I cross to the folding chair. The metal creaks as I sit, a discordant note in the symphony of fine dining. The wine bottle finds a home beside my purse on the floor, its deep red contents unlikely to ever grace their glasses. Mother's gaze skitters away when I meet it. I hold my spine straight, refusing to slouch despite the chair's awkward angle. The conversation around the table resumes, voices too loud, laughter too bright. Logan commands the room like a conductor, his hands gesturing as he tells another story about his latest business venture. Mother and father lean forward, entranced as always by their golden child. Bailey's parents nod appreciatively at his description of the generous venue he selected for their daughter. The venue I researched for weeks after Bailey mentioned loving it during our only coffee meeting. The venue whose $900 deposit sits on my credit card, along with the carefully planned menu and wine selection. Waiters glide past my corner, serving course after course. The aroma of truffle risotto wafts through the air, but no plate appears before me. I sit unacknowledged, a ghost at my own party, for 90 minutes that stretch like years. The dinner winds down as coffee and dessert plates are cleared. My legs have gone numb from the folding chair's unforgiving metal, but I haven't shifted once. The waiter approaches with a leather folder, hesitating as his eyes move between the main table and my corner. Miss Henderson? His voice carries a note of uncertainty. We have your card on file for the deposit. I rise slowly, feeling the weight of 20 gazes once again. The leather folder contains a bill for $4,130 more than I make in a month at my nonprofit job. Logan's smirk appears, familiar as an old scar, confident in the knowledge that his responsible big sister will handle it, just like always. Mother half rises, her smile hopeful. Megan, honey, you can just put it on your card. We'll sort it out later. The words hit me like a physical blow. We'll sort it out later. The same promise I've heard for 20 years, through college loans and medical bills and every financial crisis that wasn't quite urgent enough for anyone but me to solve. I look at the leather folder, then at the family that decided I wasn't good enough to sit at their table. My hand doesn't shake as I reach for my purse, and for the first time in my life, I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. The choice stretches before me like a forked road, the familiar path of least resistance, or the terrifying unknown of finally saying no. The leather folder trembles in the waiter's hands. His eyes dart between my metal folding chair and the main table, uncertainty etched across his features. Miss Henderson, we have your card on file for the deposit. I rise from the folding chair, my legs stiff from 90 minutes of sitting on unforgiving metal. The room falls silent as I straighten my dress. 20 pairs of eyes track my movement, including Logan's. His lips curl into that familiar smirk, the same one he wore when he told our parents I'd volunteer to co-sign his car loan. Mother half rises from her chair, wine sloshing in her glass. Megan, honey, you can just put it on your card. We'll sort it out later. Later. The word lands like a slap. 20 years of later stack up behind my eyes. College loans, medical bills, every crisis that wasn't quite urgent enough for anyone but me to solve. The leather folder contains a bill for $4,130. More than I make in a month at my nonprofit job. My fingers brush against the vintage watch in my purse, the one I'd carefully selected for Logan. The perfect engagement gift, now a perfect joke. I was told this wasn't the family table. My voice carries across the silence, steady and clear. I won't be paying for a party I wasn't invited to be part of. Bailey's father pushes back his chair. Wait. His face reddens as he looks between Logan and me. Megan paid for this venue? Logan's smirk vanishes. She just put down the deposit. I was going to pay her back. A laugh bubbles up in my throat, sharp and unfamiliar. I selected this restaurant because Bailey mentioned loving it during our coffee date. I paid the $900 deposit. I arranged the menu tasting. I selected the wine pairings. Bailey's hands fly to her mouth. The confusion in her eyes shifts to something harder as she stares at Logan. You told me you arranged everything. You said it was a gift to my parents. My brother's face drains of color. The room spins slightly as 2 decades of swallowed truths rise in my throat. I selected this venue 3 months ago, made sure they could accommodate Bailey's mother's dietary restrictions. Chose these light fixtures because Bailey loves artisan glass. My voice doesn't shake, but apparently I'm not family enough to sit at the table. The silence spreads like spilled wine across white linen. Father's fork hangs suspended between his plate and mouth. Mother's nervous smile has vanished. I collect my purse and the unopened bottle of Cabernet. My heels click against hardwood as I walk toward the exit, head high. The sound echoes through the private dining room like a metronome counting down the seconds. The door closes behind me with a soft click. Through the heavy wood, I hear the explosion of voices. Bailey's father's deep baritone rises above the chaos. You lied to my daughter? My phone buzzes before I reach the elevator. Logan's name flashes across the screen. How could you embarrass me like that? Another buzz. You've ruined everything! A third. This is why we don't include you. The elevator doors slide open. Inside, my phone chirps with a voicemail notification. Father's voice fills my ear. Your mother is crying. I hope you're happy. I step out into the cool October air just as Bailey's name appears on my screen. My thumb hovers over decline before I answer. Megan? Her voice trembles. I need to know something. Did you really refuse to help with the wedding planning? Logan said you wouldn't return my calls. My laugh sounds hollow in the empty street. I have the email thread where I sent him venue options, the screenshots of texts asking when you were free to meet, the receipt for the deposit. He told everyone he paid for the venue himself. Said it was his gift to my parents since they're covering the flowers. Bailey's voice cracks. What else has he lied about? Would you like the spreadsheet of money he's borrowed since college, or just the past year? Silence stretches between us. Then, I can't marry someone who treats family this way. My heart twists, unexpected sympathy blooming for this woman I barely know. Bailey. No. Steele enters her voice. My father's pulling his venue deposit for the wedding. All $5,500 of it. Logan can explain to everyone why. The line goes dead. My phone lights up with a text from Mother. Logan needs you. Don't abandon your brother now. I open my banking app, finger hovering over a specific account. The joint savings account I'd opened with Logan years ago, back when I still believed temporary help meant temporary. The remaining $1,800 glows on the screen, most of it deposited from my paychecks. The account name blinks at me. Family Emergency Fund. My thumb trembles over the close account button. The same choice stretches before me that's haunted every family crisis. Walk away from family forever, or try one more time to make them see. Behind me, the restaurant's glass doors swing open. Logan's voice carries across the parking lot. "Megan, don't you dare leave that bill." I press close account before he finishes the sentence. I went home. That same night, the bank notification lights up my phone screen at 3 a.m. Logan tried accessing our joint account again. My thumb hovers over the close account button as I sit cross-legged on my bed, surrounded by the ghosts of family photos watching me from their careful arrangements on my walls. Each frame contains a moment I paid for. The beach vacation where Logan forgot his wallet. The graduation party I catered when Mom said the budget was tight. Dad's retirement dinner where I covered the difference between what they planned and what they wanted. The close account screen glows accusingly. $1,800 sits in the balance, most of it mine. My finger trembles above the button until another notification breaks my hesitation. Attempted withdrawal, $1,000, insufficient funds. My thumb presses down. The confirmation appears instantly. Are you sure you want to close this account? The transfer completes with a soft chime. Relief floods through me until someone pounds on my apartment door, the sound echoing through the pre-dawn quiet. The next morning at 7 a.m. "Megan, open up." Logan's voice carries through the thin walls. "I know you're in there." My heart pounds, but my hands stay steady as I walk to the door. The security chain rattles as I slide it into place before turning the lock. Logan's face appears in the gap, red and twisted. "You've destroyed everything." "You made that choice at the restaurant." My voice remains level, though my stomach churns. Bailey's having doubts. Her father is furious about the venue deposit. His words tumble out, desperate. "You need to call them and fix this. Tell them it was a misunderstanding." The old urge to solve his problems rises up, familiar as a reflex. But the memory of folding chairs stops me cold. "No." The single word hangs between us. Logan's mouth opens, then closes. For the first time in my life, I see genuine shock replace his usual arrogance. "What do you mean, no?" His voice cracks. "I'm your brother. You said I wasn't family. The truth feels clean on my tongue. Well, family doesn't get to use my money." He slams his palm against the doorframe. "After everything I've done for you." "Everything you've done?" A laugh bubbles up, sharp and unfamiliar. "Let me get my spreadsheet." My phone buzzes in my pocket. Mother's name appears on the screen, her third call this morning. The voicemail notification blinks. "After all we've done for you." I silence the ringer as Logan's voice rises. Bailey's father pulled his venue deposit. $5,000, Megan. 5,000. Sounds like a problem for the person who claimed they paid for everything. The words come easier now, each one a brick in the wall I'm finally building. "You selfish?" He catches himself, forces a smile that doesn't reach his eyes. "Come on, sis, we can work this out. I'll pay you back this time, I promise." The same words he's used since we were kids. The same smile that convinced me to co-sign his car loan, to cover his trade school tuition, to open that joint account just until he got on his feet. No, the word tastes different this time, stronger. "I'm done." "Done?" His laugh holds an edge of panic. "You can't be done. We're family." Family sits at the same table. The words hit him like a physical blow. He steps back, mouth working silently before his face hardens into something ugly and familiar. "This is why you'll always be alone," he spits. "This is why Mark left you." The old wound throbs me ex-fiancé who couldn't understand why family always came first, but the pain feels distant now, like pressing on a bruise that's finally healing. "Goodbye, Logan." I close the door on his protests. My phone lights up with a text from Bailey. "Can we talk? I need to understand what happened." As I type a response, another message appears from her mother. "Thank you for showing us the truth about him." Later that morning, around 10 at my work, my coworker Sarah's name pops up next. "Brought you a coffee. It's on your desk. No need to explain family stuff to me. The support wraps around me like a warm blanket, so different from the cold obligation I'm used to. My finger hovers over the block contact option under Logan's name, but I'm not ready for that. Instead, I open my calendar and delete the recurring reminder to check his credit card payments. A weight lifts from my shoulders as I scroll through years of financial band-aids I've applied to my family's wounds. The car insurance I've paid since Dad retired. The temporary help with Mom's medical bills that became permanent. The endless small emergencies that always seem to land in my lap. My laptop opens to a blank spreadsheet. The cursor blinks as I type a new header. My money, my choice. The columns fill with numbers that tell a story of one-way generosity, of love measured in dollars and cents. I book a flight to Maine with money that was earmarked for Logan's next inevitable crisis. The confirmation email feels like permission to breathe. My phone rings again. Mother's number, but with an unfamiliar tremor in her voice when I answer. Megan, can we talk? I think of the folding chair, of decades of being the responsible one, of love that came with conditions and price tags. On my terms, I say, not Logan's. The silence stretches between us, heavy with the weight of changing tides. In the quiet, I hear the echo of that metal chair scraping across hardwood, but this time, the sound doesn't make me flinch. Your terms, she whispers, and for the first time, I hear fear in her voice. Fear of losing the daughter they never had to earn. I end the call without promising anything. The morning sun creeps through my window, painting the walls in shades of possibility. I look at the family photos again, seeing them with new eyes. Each one a receipt for love I thought I had to buy. One by one, I take them down. 3 months later at my home, the knock startles me from a documentary about penguins. 3 quick raps, polite but insistent. Through the peephole, my mother stands in the harsh hallway fluorescence, clutching a glass casserole dish like a shield. Her cardigan hangs loose where it used to pull tight across her shoulders. She looks smaller somehow, less certain than I've ever seen her. My hand hovers over the deadbolt. Part of me wants to pretend I'm not home, to sink back into my quiet evening of nature shows and chamomile tea. But her eyes keep darting to the side, the way they always have when she's working up the courage to say something real. I open the door. I brought your favorite. She lifts the dish. That corn casserole with the cornflakes on top. The one from Aunt Susan's recipe box. Words stick in my throat. The last time she brought me comfort food was after my high school boyfriend dumped me at junior prom. Now here she stands, offering crushed cornflakes and cream of corn as if they could patch the crater between us. I step aside, letting her in. She places the casserole on my counter with trembling hands, beside the coffee maker I splurged on last month when I realized I no longer needed to keep an emergency fund for Logan's next crisis. The silence stretches between us like cold taffy. Would you like some tea? I ask, more to fill the quiet than anything else. No, thank you. She perches on the edge of my couch, hands folded in her lap. I've never seen you stand up to us like that before. The words hit me in the solar plexus, not, I'm sorry we hurt you, or, you didn't deserve that treatment. Just surprised observation that her doormat daughter finally grew a spine. I sink into my reading chair, letting the familiar leather catch me. Did Logan send you? No. She looks down at her hands, twisting her wedding ring. He doesn't know I'm here. Your father thinks I'm at Bible study. Another first. In 33 years, I've never known her to lie to him. We were wrong. Her voice cracks. We let Logan treat you like less than family, your father and I. She swallows hard. We enabled him all these years. Tears fill her eyes, not the manipulative ones I've seen so often when she wanted me to cave on something. These carve genuine tracks through her careful makeup. Bailey broke the engagement. She says it like a confession. Permanently. She came by the house yesterday to return some things Logan had left at her apartment. Said she couldn't marry someone who'd treat their sister that way. Called it a preview of how he'd treat her someday. The revelation settles in my stomach like a stone. Not satisfaction exactly. Not quite regret either. Logan moved back home, she continues. He's struggling. Can't find work. Your father won't discuss what happened at the dinner. The whole thing has become this black hole we tiptoe around. She picks at a loose thread on her cardigan. Bailey's parents called everyone who'd RSVP'd yes to the wedding. Told them exactly why it was canceled. Your Aunt Margaret asked if what they said about the restaurant was true, that you'd paid for everything. I stay silent, letting her fill the space between us. For once, she does. The thing is, Megan, she smooths her slacks, a nervous habit from her teaching days. We need your help. Logan needs direction, maybe some career guidance. You've always been so good with money, with planning. A familiar weight settles on my shoulders, the reflexive urge to fix, to help, to smooth things over. But something new rises alongside it. The memory of that folding chair's cold metal against my back. I'll give advice, I say carefully. But no money. Not anymore. She nods, acceptance replacing the usual flash of disappointment. That's fair. More than fair, really. My phone buzzes on the coffee table. Logan's name lights up the screen, followed by a wall of text. Mom glances at it, then back at me. He had a lawyer friend help draft an apology letter, she admits. Spent 3 hours getting the wording just right. Your father called too, didn't he? Asked you to put this nonsense behind us? I nod. She lets out a tired laugh. Logan told him to make that call. He thinks you'll cave if Dad pressures you enough. You always have before. The words should sting, but instead they settle like the final piece of a puzzle I've been assembling my whole life. Not this time. No, she agrees softly. Not this time. We sit in silence for a moment, the hum of my refrigerator filling the space between us. On television, the penguin parents take turns protecting their egg from the Antarctic wind. Your father and I. She pauses, choosing her words carefully. We're having Thanksgiving at the house next month, just family. I'd like you to come. The invitation lands between us like a live wire. 3 months ago, I would have already been planning the menu, calculating costs, wondering how to cover Logan's share without anyone noticing. I'll think about it, I say. She stands, smoothing her cardigan one last time. That's all I can ask. At the door, she turns back. The casserole. Heat it at 350 for 20 minutes. The cornflakes stay crispier that way. After she leaves, I sit in my quiet apartment, listening to David Attenborough explain how penguin colonies survive the harshest winters by huddling together, taking turns moving from the warmth of the center to the punishing wind of the outer circle. My phone buzzes again. Another message from Logan. I look at the casserole on my counter, my mother's peace offering waiting to be warmed and eaten. The thought of returning to their table twists in my gut, the same table that excluded me, now offered as a path to reconciliation. My therapist's words from our last session echo in my mind. You can redefine these relationships on your terms. The question is, do you want to? The penguin documentary ends. In the darkness of my screen, my reflection stares back at me, wondering if I'm ready to return to the table that once excluded me, now that they're asking me back. The cranberry sauce catches the last rays of November sunlight as I place it on my parents' doorstep. My finger hovers over the doorbell, and the memory of a rooftop restaurant's folding chair presses against my spine. 3 months since I walked away from that bill. 3 months of screening calls and deleting texts. My mother opens the door before I can retreat. You came. Her voice wavers between relief and uncertainty. The walls of the entryway still display the same faded school portraits. Logan's winning smile front and center, my serious face relegated to the shadows. Just for dinner. I step inside, clutching my purse like armor. The house smells of sage and butter, mixed with the sharp tang of anxiety that always accompanies family gatherings. Logan sprawls in Dad's leather recliner, his phone a barrier between us. The empty trade school brochures on the coffee table tell their own story of his latest abandoned plan. He doesn't look up. Dad's stiff nod from the kitchen doorway sets the tone. No hug, no smile. Just judgment wrapped in cologne and a pressed flannel shirt. Traffic must have been bad. We were about to start without you. I left work early. The words snap out before I can soften them. I'm 7 minutes early, actually. Mom flutters between us, hands twisting her apron. Logan was just telling us about a new business opportunity. Something in sales, right, honey? Logan finally glances up, eyes calculating. Yeah. Hey, sis. Speaking of work, you're still at that nonprofit place, right? Dating anyone there? The familiar pivot lands like a punch. Every conversation steered toward what I can. Provide money, connections, solutions to problems they create. Dad clears his throat. You know, Megan, Logan could use some help with his resume. Professional polish, you know. I watch Mom's eyes dart between us, measuring the tension like cups of flour in her recipes. The old pattern unfolds. Logan needs help. Megan provides, balance restored. Except nothing balances anymore. Dinner's ready. Mom's announcement splits the air. Paul, would you say grace? The dining room table stretches before us, heavy with tradition and unspoken resentments. My usual spot waits the folding chair with the crooked leg, positioned slightly apart from the matching set. 4 decades of muscle memory guide me toward it. Dad's grace drones on about family bonds and gratitude. My fingers trace the metal edge of the seat, cool and unyielding. Like the family rules, Megan gives, Logan takes. Parents enable, repeat until broken. The final amen falls into silence. They wait, knives and forks poised, for normalcy to resume, for me to fold myself small enough to fit their narrative. I stand. The scrape of the folding chair against hardwood splinters the quiet. 3 steps carry me to the cherrywood chair beside Mom Logan's usual throne. I'm not sitting in the folding chair anymore. Dad's fork freezes halfway to his mouth. Logan's face darkens like a storm rolling across Ohio farmland, but I'm not finished. I'll be part of this family as an equal, not a resource. The words flow smooth and clear, practiced in therapy sessions and morning mirror pep talks. No more emergency loans. No more last-minute favors. No more pretending the folding chair is good enough. That's not how family works. Dad's voice carries the weight of decades of unquestioned authority. You've always thought you're better than us. Logan pushes back from the table. Coming in here with your fancy job and your... She's right. Mom's quiet words slice through his tirade. Her hand settles on the tablecloth, fingers spread like she's bracing for impact. We've taken advantage, Paul. All these years, we've taken advantage. The silence swells. Steam rises from the turkey, untouched and cooling. Dad studies his plate like it holds answers to questions he never thought to ask. His jaw works, pride wrestling with truth. Finally, a single nod. Not quite an apology, but the closest he's ever come. Logan shoves his chair back hard enough to rattle the china. The front door slams behind him, vibrating through the walls of the house. Through the window, I watch him pace the driveway, phone pressed to his ear, probably calling someone else to bail him out. Mom's hand finds mine across the table. Her fingers tremble, but her grip holds firm. Would you pass the potatoes, honey? The bowl travels from her hands to mine, then to Dad's. He serves himself, then offers it back to me first, a small gesture that speaks volumes. We eat in a silence that feels different from the tense quiet of past gatherings. This one holds possibility. Later, driving home through streets decorated for Christmas, I count the cost of truth. One brother's rejection, one father's grudging respect, one mother's tentative steps toward change. The math doesn't quite balance, but maybe it doesn't have to. The folding chair still stands in the corner of their dining room, but I won't be sitting in it again. I check the rearview mirror, half expecting to see the old Megan trailing behind the one who would have paid that restaurant bill, who would have helped with Logan's resume, who would have squeezed herself into any space they left her. She's gone. The question settles in my chest as I turn onto the highway. Is a partially healed family relationship better than none at all? The answer whispers beneath my wheels on the asphalt. It depends on who's doing the healing and who's willing to change. My apartment welcomes me with stillness and the soft glow of the lamp I left on. No folding chairs in sight. Just the solid oak table I bought myself, surrounded by 4 matching chairs, waiting for the day I'm ready to fill them with people who see me as I am, not just what I can give. For now, 1 chair, 1 choice, 1 boundary at a time is enough. A year later, the evening sun slants through my dining room windows, casting long shadows across the oak table I spent 3 months saving for. No metal folding chairs mar the landscape of my dinner party, just 8 matching seats, their cushions soft against the backs of people I've chosen to surround myself with. Sarah from the community center raises her wine glass, the light catching the crystal. To boundaries, she announces, and laughter ripples around the table. My mother, standing in the kitchen doorway with a serving dish of roasted vegetables, joins the toast with her water glass. To boundaries, we echo, and warmth spreads through my chest that has nothing to do with the wine. A framed photo on the wall catches my eye, me standing on a rocky Maine beach last summer, arms spread wide, first vacation I'd taken just for myself. Next to it hangs my therapy completion certificate, and beside that, the announcement of my promotion to senior financial manager. No forced family gatherings crowd my calendar these days. Its pages filled instead with coffee dates, community center workshops, and the occasional quiet evening with mom. Megan, these potatoes are incredible, Marcus from work says, reaching for seconds. What's your secret? Rosemary from my balcony garden. I pass him the serving bowl. Though mom added her own touch to them tonight. Mother's cheeks flush with pleasure. She's different now, softer around the edges, less anxious. Our weekly cooking sessions have built something new between us, brick by careful brick. Even Dad joins us sometimes, though he's still learning how to relate to me as a person rather than a resource. Logan's absence hangs in the air like a familiar ghost, but it no longer haunts me. He made his choice when he refused to acknowledge his part in years of financial manipulation. The peace I've made with his absence feels like setting down a heavy suitcase I'd carried too long. The mail slot clicks, and Martha, my elderly neighbor, appears in the entryway waving an envelope. Special delivery came late today, dear. Thought you might want it. The cream-colored envelope bears Bailey's return address. Inside, an elegant wedding invitation nestles against a handwritten note. You showed me what real integrity looks like. I'd be honored if you'd attend. My hand doesn't shake as I check the attending box. No +1 needed. The thought of seeing Logan there doesn't send anxiety spiraling through my stomach anymore. I've earned this steadiness. Speaking of integrity, Sarah pipes up. You should hear what Megan said to my intern yesterday. Poor thing was in tears about her brother demanding she drain her savings for his startup. I fold the RSVP card carefully. I just told her what I wish someone had told me at her age. Your worth isn't measured by what you provide. That workshop you started at the center? Marcus takes a sip of wine. My sister signed up for the next session, said she's tired of being the family ATM. Mother sets down her fork, and I recognize the small notepad she pulls from her pocket, the one she brings to every boundary-setting workshop she attends. Her dedication to understanding, to doing better, fills my throat with unexpected emotion. The conversation flows like wine, warm and easy. These people around my table know who I am beyond what I can give them. No one here would dare suggest I take a metal folding chair while they enjoy cushioned comfort. Later, after the last guest leaves with a container of leftovers, I stand in my kitchen. The dishwasher hums quietly, and moonlight spills across my table where everyone sat as equals. Mother's parting words echo in my mind. I'm proud of who you've become. A smile tugs at my lips as I realize her words, while lovely, no longer determine my worth. I've built my own table, and I decide who sits at it.